Now it's time to get caught up with our current money events.
This portion of the podcast is sponsored by the 0% balance transfer credit card page at I Was Broke Now I'm Not. If you're paying high interest on a credit card balance that you cannot pay off each month, this is a great way to eliminate all of the interest and speed up your way to debt freedom. Check it out at iwbnin.com. Click on Next Steps, then 0% credit cards.
Yes. And so for today's current money events section, I'm going to talk about a topic I talk about maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and that is mortgage interest rates. Mortgage interest rates are really important. You know, we like to pull stuff up on bankrate.com, and you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, how you can pull up bankrate.com and you can type in refinance, or if you're purchasing, you can type in your zip code, property value, the loan amount. You know, I just put in some random numbers here, and it will show you what the interest rates are and the different banks that are offering them. And if you scroll down, it will kind of show the overall collective numbers for people who have decent and excellent credit. So I thought I would share these updates. The 30-year interest rate is 2.5% to 3%, and the 15 years 2 to 2.5%. Now, as we've shared on recent podcast episodes, Megan has recently purchased a home, and you received an excellent interest rate. What interest rate? Do you remember what it was exactly?
Oh, gosh.
Is it a 30-year note?
Yeah, 30-year note.
Under 3% or just of 3%?
It's just at 3.
Just at 3.
Which is hard because, like, I feel like right after we did it, our real estate agent was like, somebody just got in the 2s. And I was like, what?
What? Yeah, and if you're 15-year, you can get, we see them listed for 2%, which is just unbelievable. And so as I go through this current money event section, I want you to know that refinancing is at a torrid pace. Torrid. Torrid is a unique word. I don't know if I've used it too often, but it is torrid. It means like ripping. Rocket Companies announces their third quarter results was the title. And you've seen the commercials. If you watch any sports events or anything, you see these commercials for Rocket Company. You see it on your Facebook feed, your social media feed, you know, where you can click it and just apply online. It's amazing. And they announced an unbelievable third quarter results. So think about this. In a pandemic, they closed their origination, which is new loans volume, up 122% year over year to a record of $89 billion. $89 billion of loans originated, and they increased their GAAP net income, which is generally accepted accounting practices, net income 506% year over year to $3 billion. That's amazing. So that's just people in their home refinancing their home. Of course, purchasing new homes is also at a torrid pace. Now, I will tell you, at the outset of the pandemic, I had a honey-do list about 7 miles long because I've traveled and spoke and all this stuff. And immediately I started doing stuff. And one of the projects was to put in a loft in my barn so I can take stuff off the floor, stack stuff up there so I can place new stuff on the floor. That's what we do. I like flat areas. They hold stuff. And so I bought a sheet of OSB plywood. A sheet of OSB plywood. That's really exciting, right? Is that exciting? It's very exciting.
Riveting.
It was like $7.50. Do you know what a sheet of that same stuff, 7/16 OSB is right now?
$25.
$25.
Was it really?
That is $25.
I believe
3X.
it.
And so to say new home building is at a torrid pace is like an understatement, and that's hard to believe. So here's the headline. U.S. single-family home building accelerates in September. U.S. single-family home building surged in September, so they're usually about 3 months behind, cementing the housing market status as the star of the economic recovery. Housing has been robust thanks to record low interest rates and a migration to the suburbs and low-density areas as Americans seek more room for home offices and schooling. As I've said, man, I'm so glad I had 11 acres to run around on during the pandemic and a farm to go run on too. Because, man, it's tough. It's been tough for people in these very small apartments in big cities. They want space. So housing starts increased 1.9% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 1.415 million units last month, the Commerce Department said. Is that crazy?
That is crazy.
So the single angle is this. If you haven't refinanced, do the math. I would tell you this. If you had a 30-year, don't go back to a 30-year. Try to cut an additional 5 years off your note. If, like Megan, you went back to a 30-year, you can run the math to say, how can I cut off an additional 5 years and make that payment instead? There is no penalty for prepayment on most mortgages, and you can use our early payoff calculator and the mortgage payment calculator in combination to help you make the best decision for you and your household. Of course, as always, We'll include links to those tools in the show notes. And that's it for today's current money events section.
All right, so our success story today comes from Matt, and Matt says, I can't begin to thank you enough.